Well, we're so glad that you're here. If you are interested in communicating better, maybe you're traveling and you want to be able to express yourself verbally, non verbally, some of the words and messages we share can, well, even be as bad as being offensive. And that's why I'm so excited about Francois Pialat being here. He wrote the book called Wonderful Winding Words, and he's going to share about how to better communicate, which could really be helpful even amongst families speaking the same language when you think about the other person. Francois, thank you for being here.
Thank you too.
Francois, share with me about what the book is about.
Well, the book is about expressions, different expressions worldwide, and I try to let the people understand that what is real in their own country might be completely different in another one. Let it be for the language or even for the behavior. I will take an example which is in history. The Japanese, for example, were together during the war with the German. Everybody knows that.
Right.
But when you get further, there is a connection between their language, between Japanese language and German language. There is a connection. They think about the same because they have to put the verb at the end of a sentence.
Okay.
It means that they know what they're going to say because their mind is so oriented that they know what to say. And another thing, if you take example in France, you will say, I go to the theater or I go to school. But in German or in Japanese, you need to know first if it's theater or is it school. You see, the mind is upside down. And this is very important. And you may have also another comparison. It's during the war, they were all together. There were a mass, the mass of German, the mass of Japanese. Whereas the French, it's only a unit. It's only one person, you see. This is a very big difference. And the Japanese have also picked some German words in their own language. For example, Polizei, the police, they say Polico. So just take some words. And even you have, if you think further, they have even some words which means nothing, which are placed here and there in the sentence. I will take an example. The German will say, ach so. You have exactly the same in Japanese. They say, so des. That's even the same words. So, ach so, so des. And so they have plenty of words like this in Japanese and German. So it means you may understand why maybe they have fought together against us.
So why is this so important? Why does this matter so much?
Yeah, because you need to understand the people. And this is important. I will take you a story. I was in the jungle in Thailand, making a trip alone in jungle. At that time, there was nobody. It was not a trip like today. It was really difficult. Yeah. And I met somebody who was very strong in the jungle. And I didn't know what to do. I was afraid because I didn't know him. He didn't know me either. Yeah. And we met together. And I said, Mensch, if you want to stay here, if you want to stay alive, you have to find a way to communicate with him.
Mm-hmm.
And
find that common ground. Yes.
Yes. And he was carrying a crossbow. And I was really afraid of it. And finally, we discussed about the crossbow with the fingers and so on. And he said, you want to try it? I say, yes, why not? And I could not bend the crossbow. It was so hard. And he did it quickly. And then he's shooting at a leaf at 100 meters. And he got it. But I tried it. Of course, I missed the leaf. But this encounter in the jungle alone. And then we became friends. And
Yeah.
We express ourselves in just two, two Chinese words, only two Chinese words, which he repeated constantly on a piece of paper I had with me. And he say, roughly, my house is your house, and
Wow.
our house is a house.
Wow.
Only with this, and then we went away as friend. I passed and say, "Whew," I stay maybe half an hour with him, but I say, I'm not lost and I'm still alive.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
learned something from him that we can communicate even when we don't know the languages. And this is
Yes.
very important.
Well,
And
Francois, you talk in your book about animals and the
yes,
importance of using them as examples.
yes, and animals. So animals is very, for example, in the pace of animals are completely different. In French, we say a snail tempo, you know, a snail pace. In Japanese, we say a cow pace. So, what is the difference between a snail and a cow? So, if you
Right.
don't know it, you don't understand
Right.
what's
Right.
going on. And
Right.
this is what makes my book funny and interesting because it asks the people to open their eyes and to understand that people are thinking differently, although we are not different.
Yes.
It's the
Well,
same in the mind. In the mind, the people are thinking. We'll take another example. In Asia, you should not take the head of a kid. You see, this is sacred. In France or in Europe, that's the contrary. You are going to kiss him and to stroke his head and so on. This is allowed. It's
this
not
is
allowed.
important. It's
It's
important to
safe.
be able to communicate.
Yes,
Yes,
it's safe.
absolutely.
You have other. I notice as well in the behavior. This has nothing to do with the language, but it's behavior. If you are some, for example, in a railway, in the train, and you are in a compartment, and there is, of course, place for other people. And
Yes.
if you cross your legs and having one leg towards the door, the people will not enter the compartment because
Really?
with your leg is communicate. Say, I don't want you to come in.
No kidding.
If
So
you if
is
if
this a
you
good book to
change,
have if you're traveling anywhere
if
in
you
the world?
change yeah, if you change your knee and put it in the other way,
Yeah.
uh, against not against the double against the fenster, the people
Yes.
will come in. That's funny
Okay.
because you invite them to come
Yes.
with your feet. It's the same. If you want, everybody has an area around. If you want to touch somebody, you can try it by yourself.
Right. Right.
With your hand, you go as near as possible as a friend or somebody, and you will notice he or she doesn't move.
Yes.
But suddenly, when you go a bit further, she feels your hand, although you
Yes.
don't touch her, and
Yes.
then either the person's go back or goes against you against
Yeah.
this is very important. This is also body language. This is important.
Is this a good book for traveling anywhere in the world to communicate around the world?
Yes, it is, and I will say it's only for four languages, but it could be done for people if they are interested to make it in Italian or in Spanish or Indonesian.
Francois, would you say that it's only four languages, but you could generally say this is true for the
Yes, for the
European culture. This is
yes,
true for the American culture. This is true for the
yes,
Asian
for
culture.
all continents. Yes, this is
Continents,
very
yes.
important. This is very important.
I love that. My goodness, we're running out of time already. It's hard to believe, but I can't express how important it is to think about how the person you're speaking to feels a connection and understands what you're trying to say. To speak to them how they're comfortable receiving the information instead of how we're comfortable giving it. I shared before we started recording, going to Israel and reaching out and shaking the hands of a religious man, and
Yes,
being told later, "Don't do that. You could
yeah,
be
but
unclean." And
for
it was just
shaking hands, to come back to shaking hands, this is another thing. This is very important. In Asia, you should give both hands when you shake hands. Why? Just to show that you have no weapons.
oh
This, this,
gosh,
this is
wow.
this is exactly this. In France, it's shaking hand. That's completely different. And the Japanese also, they are bowing down and with the two hands to show. They have to show their hands, that their hands are free, and that they are not against you. That's very important.
It is so important. Francois, we have run out of time, and there's so much more to talk about. The good thing is, our listeners and viewers can buy your book to find out more. Tell us where it's available.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
Now, I know that you're represented by Book Trail Agency, but
Yes.
where else can you get the book at?
Excuse me?
Where can you purchase the book?
Well,
Pretty
anywhere,
much everywhere books are sold.
everywhere, everywhere,
Okay, that's
everywhere,
good.
everywhere. They only to know the title and to know the author,
There you go,
and then
Francois. It
okay.
was a it was a joy to speak with you. Such
Yeah,
an interesting
nice
topic.
speaking to you as well.
Thank you so much for your time, and you have a great day, and we'll talk again soon.
Okay,
Be
bye
well,
bye.
friend.
Thank you for inviting me.